The Lord bless you. He has graced us to make it to Friday, another week. And He didn't have to do it, but He did. And I don't know about you, but I am grateful to the Lord for keeping us. And as we go through each day of our life, we recognize things that are happening, things that we have read in the scripture, things we have heard about in the years. Somebody has lost a loved one. Someone has heard some disturbing news. And we see everything. Someone was promoted. Someone got a raise. Someone got married. Someone had a baby. There's so many things that have happened, but there are often so many negative things that we hear as we listen to the news and so on. So I really kind of it's just in my heart to encourage you tonight, out of Psalm 62, verses 5 through 8. And I just want to pick a thing or two out of there to encourage you. It says, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times. Ye people, pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us." Three things I want to share with you to encourage you. First thing I want to share with you is this, that your expectation is from God. Now, how do we deal with that? Your expectation. Your expectation is your hope. That thing you long for. And everybody has a hope in this life. You hope things get better. You hope you live to see this. You hope you get to experience that. You hope you don't die. You're all hoping for something. Your hope or your expectation is from the Lord. He's the one who knows the plans that he thinks towards you. He's the one who wants to give you a hope in a future, or he wants you to have something to look forward to. And in the days we're living in, we ought to be looking forward to something better than what we're seeing. You ought to look forward to some days where you are not having to struggle. You ought to look forward to the day when people don't treat you any kind of way. You ought to look forward to the day that you can go to sleep in peace, knowing that every bill you have is covered. Your child or your children are safe. You don't have to worry about any health conditions. At some point, you ought to have that expectation that things are going to get better. Because sometimes things really look like they're going to get worse. But your expectation is from the Lord. Next thing I want you to notice, that not only is your expectation from the Lord, but he's your defense. You don't have to vindicate yourself. You don't have to try to validate yourself. You don't have to try to prove yourself. You don't have to. Why? God is your defense. People may try to condemn you. God is your defense. People may try to prosecute you and ridicule you and try to belittle you, but God is your defense. People will try to discredit you. In the times we're living in, don't tell me people haven't tried to discredit you. They've called you everything but a child of God. They've compared you to your situation and think that's all you will ever be. God is your defense. Please get that. What does that mean? God is your defense. Meaning that God is a safety for you. He's like your fort. In other words, he doesn't allow what they do to penetrate you. He's your defense. You sitting here trying to prove something to folk. You ain't got to prove a thing to anybody. I just want to encourage you with the times we're living in that your expectation is from the Lord and he is your defense. So in other words, he speaks for you. When you live for him, he speaks for you. When you seek to please him, he speaks for you. He is your defense. Even David said, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When my enemies and my foes, the wicked, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Why? Because God is my defense. So know that your expectation is from God. He is your defense. Finally, trust in him at all times. We've been talking about trusting God, but we talk about trusting God at particular times, sometimes pivotal times. But this particular scripture says, trust in him at all times. I know what you're dealing with right now. It seems like nobody else is dealing with it. You're challenged. You're frustrated. You're stressed out. You've gotten some disturbing news. Things going on around you. Things going on around the world. There's wars here. Famine there. Violence there. Drugs there. Everywhere you turn, something is going on. And many times you ask the question, Lord, where are you? The scripture says, trust in him at all times. Trust in him at all times. When you trust in him, here's what I love. When you trust in him, you can pour out your heart to him. Can I be honest with you? It's okay to be vulnerable with the Lord. He won't look at you some type of way and criticize you like people do. He won't make you feel insignificant or inferior like people do. He won't make you feel emasculated like people do. He won't make you feel pitiful like people do. Pour out your heart to him. Why? He's your expectation. Your expectation is from him. He is your defense. In other words, he's got you covered. He'll fight for you. But you can pour out your heart to him because you trust him. You trust him. He's a safe place for the people of God. I know that you look for safety sometimes through the comfort of your spouse. You look for the comfort and safety that comes from your mother or your father or whoever might have raised you. And I understand that. But the scripture makes it clear that God is our refuge. So God is a safe place. He's a safe place. He's a safe place. And he will keep you safe when you come to him. He will never expose you for you to be hurt. If God ever exposes you, it's because he wants to reveal you to everyone else. God is safe, and he's not sharing your business with anybody. We're living in some trying times. Ma'am, we're living in some trying times, sir. We're not certain what to expect with our relationships. We're not certain what to expect with our places of employment, with our finances. Sometimes we don't even know what to expect with the assembly we attend. But our expectation is from him. He is our defense. And we can trust him at all times and pour out our heart to him. I just wanted to encourage you on tonight. Listen, this is Apostle Dr. Irvin A. Whitlow Jr., and I thank you for joining me. Until next time, I say go with God, and he will go with you. Until then, shalom. You be blessed.